Yo, Chris, chill that out. Come on. Hey, Chris.
What?
Chris. Yeah,
What?
we're on the show, man. Come on, let's drop that. Yeah.
Well, Mike's not here, man. Come on.
I know, man, but you know, Mike, he's probably lurking around the corner somewhere, man. So we gotta
Oh,
enjoy
man.
what we can. It sounded like you were rocking out, buddy.
That's disappointing. All right,
Yeah,
fine.
I know. We
All
gotta
right.
keep it going.
I guess we gotta do this the right way. All right, welcome everybody to Head in the Clouds.
What's going on, everyone? This is Chris and Elonzo. Mike is on vacation, so like Weekend at Bernie's, we are running the show this week. So we're gonna have lots of fun, freestyling it, enjoying ourselves, enjoying anything that we're gonna come up with, talking about all sorts of topics, and we want you to be a part of us.
Yeah, I hope it's not completely like Weekend at Bernie's. That'd be kind of weird.
Well, yeah, minus the Bernie situation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, normally when we're here on Head in the Clouds, we're talking about all things cloud computing and cloud computing careers. Talking about cloud architect training and cloud architect jobs and cloud engineer training, all those things that Mike normally talks about. Well, I'm not a techie guy, so I can't talk about the cloud architect role versus the cloud engineer role or what type of training you need for each role. But what I can do is I can put on a fun show. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to put on a fun show. As we said, Mike is not here. So Elonzo and I called up a few friends, and hopefully we'll have some people joining us. Who knows? And but before we get started, I do want to do my due diligence and tell you guys and girls about a few things. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that everybody is aware that we've got our new AWS, our updated AWS exam guide for both the Solution Architect Associate and Professional exam. Let me put the banner up. Sorry, I thought that this was okay. All right, so there we go. So we've got our new exam guide that is out. The link is in the description and should be in the chat box as well. So we've got that. Next thing we got, I know Elonzo likes to talk about this. We got our webinar coming up. So Elonzo, I know we're not doing one this Thursday, but if you want to talk about the webinar, I think we're doing one next Thursday.
Oh yeah, I believe we are doing the webinar. Ah man, do I have that information? But I don't have it up with me.
Well, the important thing is that Mike will tell you exactly what you need to do to get cloud hired.
There it is.
Yep. So make sure to sign up for the free webinar, How to Get Your First Cloud Job, where Mike will tell you everything and anything that you need to do to get your first cloud role. Let's see, going down my checklist here. And of course, we've always got new things coming out. So make sure you're following Mike on LinkedIn and you're following Go Cloud Careers on LinkedIn. You don't want to miss any of the exciting things that we have coming up. So I think that's everything that I've got.
Yeah, I think we checked the boxes.
Yeah, I think we checked all the boxes. So before we get started, and hopefully we'll have some people knocking on the door soon. You got anything that you want to mention, Elonzo? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything A to Z. We're going to talk about what it takes to run the show behind the scenes, behind the curtain, while Mike is blasting out all the awesome content, all the awesome things that you need to become a cloud architect, as well as how to be successful from emotional, quantitative, qualitative, learning the tech, all those good things. But you're going to have a peek behind the curtain tonight to see how we do things, how we keep the ball rolling, how we keep it dribbling and kicking it around in the back. We have our laughs, we have our challenges, but nonetheless, we are always successful and ready to deliver what you need on a daily basis.
All right, good deal. And I think we've got a couple of our blue wrenches in the chat box there. I think Tyrone.
Where are our blue wrenches?
Yeah, we got
Collins out there. You know what? Let's start it off this way, Chris. Yeah. Everyone, let's blast where you are, where you're from. I want to hear that from everyone. I want to see what's going on.
That
and then
sounds
we can get a cloud hired as well.
all right. So yeah, let us know where you're from, and make sure you put that in the chat box. I'm not used to doing hosting duties and managing what comes on the screen. So you're going to see me having the hair might be pulled out by the end of the day. But let's see. We got a Dallas, Texas. Oh, of course, that's Chow. Yep. We got Tyrone.
I've been to Gilbert. I've always wanted to go to Dubai. I've been to SoCal. I got some friends in Manchester, London, Phoenix. I'm very familiar with that.
What is H-Town, Alonzo?
Hey,
go Phillies!
In the house.
Go Phillies!
Oh man, we don't know what that means.
Well, actually, we don't want the Phillies to win because apparently every time the Phillies win a World Series, there's recession. So,
yeah. Well, I'm hoping that there are no Michigan State fans out there because Michigan dealt them a serious blow over the weekend.
Yep. And Michigan State did not handle that very well in the tunnel after the game.
Oh, they did not. No. Yeah, that's going to haunt them for a while. I've been to the Poconos before. I've been to Baltimore. There's so many places that I've seen or been to or want to go. Ottawa, Canada. Oh, man. Welcome, everyone. Welcome.
All right. So
Ottawa.
All right. So we've got our first guest who's in the house.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing who came by to visit our house party.
Yeah, they're at the door. There we go.
I love it.
If you have not been watching our show long enough, I've mentioned many a times that I got to get sound effects on this show. So
we got them.
I'm excited. Yeah. All right. So let's bring in our first guest here.
Who we got? Oh! Look who we have here in the back.
We got Anthony here with us. All right.
Anthony, how's it going today, gentlemen?
How's everything?
Oh, man, it's good. It's good. I got a baby on the way in the next 3 days.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it, man. That is some exciting news, man. Yes. Bringing in the end of the year well.
Yes.
That is very exciting. Yep. Well, I'm glad you were able to join us. I can only imagine what you've got going on around the house.
It's busy. It's busy. I already got twins, so that's just another one on top. So.
Well, Anthony, we're gonna lay that thing called sleep to rest. You will never see it again.
Never again. Yep. All right. Well, for everybody that doesn't know, this is Anthony. Anthony is part of our Go Cloud Careers community. We put out a call to a couple of people, and he answered the call. We thought that it might be nice to bring him in and get him to share a little bit about his experience, and what his thoughts are, and everything that he feels like sharing. I know you won't be able to stay with us very long. We might have to kick you out. I don't know. It might get a little too crowded in here. But looks like we got some congrats coming in over here for you. Congratulations, Anthony.
Thank you.
Do we know if it's a boy or a girl? Or
no, we're gonna find out old school when the baby comes out.
Oh, I love it.
All right. Well, either way, Lady Godiva's got it right. No sleep.
As a father, I know that my son, he was up 3 times a night, man, for a while. So you feel like a bartender mixing up the formula and all that.
I'm hoping for a girl. I got the 2 boys, so I want to see what it's like.
Oh
having a girl now. That's my thing.
I love it. That's awesome.
Well, the good thing is you'll have the 2 older boys to make sure nobody messes with the girl if it's a girl.
She's covered.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, let's get down to business here. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Anthony.
Absolutely. So my name is Anthony Gonzalez, and I've been in tech sales for the past decade. And during the pandemic, I realized that I really wanted to change my outlook on life and the trajectory of where I was going, because I was stuck in a career that just didn't have a long lifespan. It was a call center. And one of the things that the pandemic taught me is how fast things go, how quick life can be. And I really want to do something that I'm passionate about, that I can make a difference, and something that was business oriented. So I found out about AWS and cloud computing. And so I took the time to try and get certification. And during my studies, I found your guys's class on YouTube, and it was a total game changer from everything that I was learning, because it was the first time that I had been studying where it actually felt like you guys talked about the practical applications versus what I was learning from all the AWS study guides that are out there. I was trying to remember it just so I could pass the test, but I could not understand how the pieces went together. And so I joined in June when I realized, wow, you guys are committed to getting people hired. It's not just about passing an exam. And that was totally different than anybody else that is out there. And then once you get in, you start to realize the community that's here. Everyone is trying to help everybody else succeed. And when Mike talks about this being a family, you get that from the very moment that you start. Everyone is committed, and it's just been growing so rapidly. But yet you guys still take the time to show your appreciation and celebrate the wins. And what happens so many times in these big corporations is you just become a number. And that's something that you guys have absolutely avoided. You guys really care about everyone. And it's so fun. And it's something that I want to continue doing long term, because this is going to be something that can change your family tree, especially with the kind of money that you can make in cloud computing as a solutions architect. It's, a really good life. And right now, with inflation as high as it is, I wanted to have a career and not just a job.
I love it, Anthony. I love it. I can just really hear the passion in your voice and how it's transformed your life and overall, and how, through that positivity, I'm sure the dynamics with your wife and with your family, they see the accomplishments that not only you're doing for yourself, but how it's being brought home to the family as well. So I'm loving to hear that story.
Now I know, Anthony, you're still actively in the program. You haven't reached the cloud hired stage yet. I know this because I haven't done an interview with you.
Right.
which is like my favorite thing to do. Annoy the heck out of people and say, hey, we got to do an interview.
Yeah.
But you talked so great about the program just then, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that we did not do any prep for this. Anthony literally hopped on this while I was jamming out to that music.
This is literally the freestyle edition.
but Anthony's very active in our program, so I'm not surprised to hear some of the things that he says, because I hear them from pretty much everybody else that's active in the community. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you, what about the community? Can you talk about the community? Because when I first started doing these cloud hired interviews, for the recorded interviews that we started putting on YouTube earlier this year, that was a common, like, I had a set of questions that I was going in and asking people during these interviews. And I had to change my questions because so many people kept talking about the community, and it wasn't something that, like, I was aware of it, but I'm in a sense, I'm on the outside looking in, because I'm not a participant. I'm not a student. I'm an administrator of sorts. Right. So could you talk about that a little bit? Because that's something that caught me off guard, of how much of an impact that has on people. And I don't know if that's the case with you, but you talked about it a little bit unprompted. So I wanted to kind of pull that thread a little bit.
Absolutely. So the difference is, I've done many different programs over the past couple of years, trying to find the thing that was going to help me be successful, that was going to help me get to the next level of whatever it was that I was doing. A lot of the major differences is that whenever you'd buy a course from somebody, they would have maybe a Facebook group, and then you would kind of answer and kind of try, and it would be up to you to try and network within that group. But very quickly, you just lose the passion for it. The difference that you get in this community is the fact that there's always something new, and there's constantly a new video that comes out every day, and Mike is talking about, hey, check this out, post this on LinkedIn. That's going to go ahead and help you start to get engagement and build your brand. So it starts on LinkedIn. And then when it comes to Slack, I think is probably the biggest game changer, because you get to see what projects people are working on, and you could see the assignments, and you get to go back in time and you get to see, all right, did somebody already answer this question? So it feels like you have somebody around you the entire time. It doesn't feel like you guys are here to just sell a product, make money, and then leave. It's completely not like that at all. It's totally different, because it's all about just helping people succeed. And I think one of the fun parts about it is when you're watching the videos in the private group, and you get to see people flourish over time. I talk about Chow a lot. And when you watch the older videos, and you can see the meekness that she has, and she's a little bit more shy, and now she's a completely different person. And I think one of the things that adds to you is that it makes you feel like anything is possible when you get to see the change of somebody over time. And now she's on the cusp of being able to go out and get a cloud job in only, maybe, I think she's been here a year. And the way that she has been able to develop, her language skills, and she's just incredible, and I just love to see that, because it just makes you feel like, wow, this is definitely possible. This is not just a like a fly by night operation. This is something that you guys are building for the future. And it's something that even when I do end up getting a cloud job, I want to contribute in some way. Maybe I sponsor somebody to come in and get into this course, something. It's so nice to actually have people that are wanting everybody to succeed, and they're dedicated to your success.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's funny that you mentioned about the assignments, because you didn't say assignments, you said the videos. But what Anthony's talking about there, everyone, is that we have assignments, and unlike other programs where you submit your assignment through some assignment portal and only the instructor sees it, we purposely have our students submit all of their assignments on a public forum, so that their fellow students can see, like Anthony mentioned, they can see how their fellow students are progressing in the program. And we do that purposefully for the encouragement of others and the improvement of others. What we have is a group program. It's a community-based program. And every aspect of our program is based on doing this in a group and in a community, and not by yourself. Because if you let yourself get siloed off and you're only working by yourself, you're not responsible to anybody else. And if you're not responsible to anybody, if you don't feel responsible to anyone else, then guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to do the assignments.
Right.
So I'm glad that you touched on that. That's and then also you talked about the feedback that is given. The feedback's not just from us as administrators. It's you get feedback from your fellow students that are like, where else can you go to get feedback from a decades-long database architect about database architecture?
Right.
With Praveen. I mean, you get feedback from Praveen about this, or you get feedback from someone else that might have years of security engineering experience. That's another unique aspect that I've found interesting from the outside looking in, is that you have that community that isn't shy to share their experience and share their things. So I've asked questions, but Elonzo, you got a question? Any questions for Anthony? And then I know we'll let Anthony ask a question or two.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I'm I think from my perspective, when I see or meet, the first time that I meet people, and I'm sure that there's other people in the audience, when you reach out for an initial consultation and trying to figure out if this is for you, and you're able to I introduce myself, I talk about it, and then, like you said, you get involved with the community. You watch people flourish and grow, and next thing you know, they're spreading their wings, leaving the nest, and they're hashtag cloud hired. So when it comes to that, Anthony, what are some of the things that really spoke out to you during this process, and how has that made you a better person?
I think the way that you guys have everything set up where everything is archived, you've got everything from the years that you've been doing this. So there's just so much content out there. And the fact that the way that you enroll people into the program is just get in and start. And the people that have been here a little bit longer, they kind of start helping. They become leaders and they start helping the new people out. And so it's an organic way for them to mature and develop in their people skills as well as like their knowledge of the program. So one of the big takeaways that I get is just knowing that the more that you try and participate, the harder that you work. When you decide to open yourself up, you know that as long as you're risking that and challenging yourself, a couple months down the road, you're going to be exactly where everybody else is that you admire, that you look up to, who's getting cloud hired. And so I just like the fact that all the answers are pretty much out there at this point, but you guys just leave everything up. You guys consistently try and, you know, it's not a money grab. It's just so different than anything else that's out there because it's just truly about helping people. And so that's really one of the big takeaways that I have. And you know, when you have a mission and a purpose for helping people, like you can make a huge impact. And I think that Mike has just brought people into this group and into this family that all are single-minded in their vision. And over time, things have just, you know, the YouTube shorts that are basically posted every morning. The graphics are getting better, and he brings people on who can create that type of content. And just watching this grow over the past couple of years, it's really cool how far you guys have come. And you know, even Elonzo, I was just watching one of the old videos where, you know, you had just gotten hired into this position, and previously, you know, you were kind of a student. So it's just cool to know that like everyone was in your shoes. So there's no reason to feel nervous or scared or like you're going to fail, because it's like, just follow the steps, follow the work, and you're going to get there. And that's just such a cool feeling to know that, no, I am going to be successful. You know, this is, and I think that gives you hope a lot of times, because I think so often you feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, but all you have to do is just look and you see this person is winning and they just followed the steps. And so it's so nice to have somebody hold your hand, walk you through it. And as long as you're willing to put in the work, you're going to get there.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're not going to hold your hand too tight.
Yeah.
You gotta do the work.
We're gonna point you in the right direction. And one of the things that we always talk about, and that's one of the phrases we use, is the program works if you do. Yep. And if you are able to put in the time, and like you said, it's a community. And one of the things that I love about it is that just a couple of weeks ago, everyone in Houston who had the opportunity to come, we came together, we had a nice outing. We were able to just step outside our virtual realms and to actually see. There's nothing like, to me, you're working with a bunch of virtual people in the community and get a physical sense that these are the same people that are growing like me, that are on the same career path as me, or they are struggling like me, so that we can come together and it creates an additional set of cohesion towards your ultimate goal. So that's one of the things that I love about it, because my own personal path, in another life, I was a creative director, moved on to digital marketing, and then didn't like that because marketing is a very demanding industry, to say the least. Jumped into project management for a little bit, found cloud architecture, joined a certain industry where, you know, it was same pipeline as before. You know, they take the money, I start asking questions, you hear from them fewer and fewer, and little, and then you start asking some real deeper questions. Next thing you know, they put me on notifications are silent. So right. I was, you know, not only surprised, mortified, offended. And I said, okay, there's got to be a new way to be able to get on this architecture train, be able to navigate it effectively. And so, like I said, for me, I ran across Mike's videos. He demystified everything that I was stumbling around in the dark, and he turned a matter of almost years into mere months or weeks, breaking it down. And if anyone understands, say, for instance, you're thinking about cloud service provider white papers, it reads like stereo instructions. So you really have to try to boil it all down, because they make this assumption that you're already a pre-existing cloud engineer or something like that. But with Mike, he said, look, this is a virtualized data center and network. This is block stores. This is object stores. This is how it works. And the three things that we always talk about, the cardinal questions: what is the tech? What does it do? And when would you use it? And using and driving home that overall formula is what made me so successful. It broke down the literal pennies drop, and I'm able to say, this is what it does. This is how it does. Let's talk about containerization, storage, databases, networking, and like anyone else, anyone who was tripped up by IP addressing and understanding how that goes, because that is a whole different level. But ultimately, you start to grasp it, and you start to pass that language. Pass that knowledge and pay it forward. And like you said, folks coming in, you're coming out, but being able to be that alumnus and come back and be able to help people is something that's so rewarding for me.
So
and it's cool because I actually work at Amazon, and I'm able to see some of our old students that get hired into the AWS positions in Amazon, and it's like, oh my gosh, you're already where I want to be in the next couple months. And that is just so exciting to be like, I know you, like you're my, you're my cloud friend, and just knowing that people are already there, that's so incredible to see the tangible results. And one of the big things is the fact that you talked about containerization and everything else. I feel like before this program, I would have not been able to tell you anything about those different technologies, because it just sounded so foreign. And the other thing that you guys do is you take away the secrets. You talk about finances, and you talk about that's one of my favorite classes is when we just take some time to talk about the market and why this is a business position, and what the inflation means for companies and how to look at it. And it just teaches you a different way of thinking than I would have ever even imagined. And that's probably one of the biggest things, because from that aspect, you can go to a business and you can do a presentation and you can stand out over everybody else that's out there, plus the leadership skills that you give in the other programs, where one of the things that I realized is how quickly I would talk. And it sounded very much like a salesman versus taking the time to gather and collect your thoughts and present it in a way that brings authority and leadership. And so even just those simple tweaks was like, wow, this is affecting so many more areas of my life outside of cloud.
I love that. I love it. And I can hear the passion in your voice versus someone just pushing you through the mill against, what you've learned and how you've gotten that support here. And also the wonderful thing of that you can see about cloud hires going through Amazon and being where you want to be. Number one, that the program works, that you can be successful. And one of the major things is that it creates that community and that, what am I trying to say? That network of you being able to reach back and say, you know what? You went through the same program I have. I can help you. You can help me. And we can continue to grow and be able to be at that level that everyone wants to be at. So that's awesome, Anthony.
Yeah. And the other big thing too is just the way that you guys even train when it comes to interviewing. I mean, just watch the YouTubes for people that are not in the program. If you just go back and you just watch people be interviewed by Mike, you can learn so much about how to answer questions. And that's just free content that Mike is just always making available to everybody. And so for you to think, okay, what am I going to get out of this program if I join up? Look at all the free stuff that he's giving you and how valuable that is. That could probably get you a job right there. But no, I'm saying join the program and you're going to be 10x where you would be otherwise.
Right. And it's one of the things that we talk about is that would you rather be 10x certified, or would you want that one single offer letter that you can take to the bank, leverage anything that you want from them, versus you giving them a catalog's worth of certifications that have zero value when it comes to the finances. And you can also make that applicable as a cloud architect, talking about business transformation versus are you competent, or you just have a collection of certs? And odds are 99% of the time, those who know what they're doing, they're going to go for the competency.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to talk.
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, we were jamming.
I'm not complaining. I'm just like, I'm going to pop some popcorn or something. But there's like, I'm coming in because I got to wrap it up because I know Anthony's got things to go to. So there's a couple of things that I just want to circle back to. First of all, thank you for popping in, Anthony.
Of course.
Second of all, correct me if I'm wrong on any of these things. You joined us over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
This past summer. Okay.
Yep.
You're currently working full time.
Yes.
You have 2 children and a child on the way.
Yes.
So you've got a lot of obligations and a lot of commitments.
Yes, I do.
What has it been like for you as a participant in this program? Because we purposely designed this program to be self-paced. What's it been like for you? Because I know we get asked all the time, can I do this in 3 months? Can I do this in 6 months? Can I do this in 2 weeks? Can I do this in 8 months? Can I do this? We purposely design it so that it can fit anybody.
Right.
And with people like you in mind that are working full time.
Right.
I mean, if you weren't working full time and you had no children and no significant other and no obligations, and
you can blow past it, right?
Probably do it in 3 months,
right?
But how would you say that you feel about what you've been able to commit and how that's worked for you? If you could talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. So I would say that when let's see how to phrase this. There are times where I have a lot more time and availability to study. And when I do, I put everything that I have into learning the content. There are times where I'll be going through a transition at work where I'm working so much more and I have to come and, feed the kids afterwards. As soon as I get done with work, spend time with my wife, and then I'll get maybe an hour or 2 hours to be able to study content at the end of the day. My passion far exceeds everything else when it comes to cloud. So that's why I just find time. It's hard, but at the same time, like if I look long-term where I want to be in the next 5 years, I want my life to be completely different financially, and I want to be in a cloud position. So the reason that I've been successful at learning the content is because I make time for it. Even though I've got a crazy busy life, I can find an hour to put on the latest video that we did and run it in 2x speed so that I can hear the content faster and I can just understand where you guys are at. So I don't want to miss anything. And then there are times where it's just so busy that I can't get to cloud. But at the end of the day, my passion brings me back because I know that this is going to be the thing that I want to do going forward. So if you are committed to it and you are passionate about it, you can have a full-time job, you can have a family, but it's up to you to do the work. And when you have more time off, I mean, the weekends, I take the time on the weekends to study at least 3 hours a day minimum. And so whether that be late at night, that's when I do my best work anyways. I'm just a night owl. So I just listen to the content at night. But when you start to see the success of everybody else getting hired, that keeps me from the discouragement of feeling like I'm not there yet. I started in June. I know it could take 6 to 8 months. And I feel like I'm almost ready. I'm about to build the my OpenStack server coming up here. And so then I'll feel like, okay, I had to take a break for about 2 months because I had a transition in the job to where I could barely even have the opportunity to just watch any of the content. But as I started to get back into it, I was like, I remember everything. It's like I didn't even miss a beat because it's not about like memorizing. It's about actually learning something. I get the opportunity to actually know this to my core. So when you ask me questions, it might take a little bit of a brush up to just read and be like, okay, I remember this, but I actually know the content, which is totally different from where I was before when I was just trying to study to pass an exam, so I can get a piece of paper and a certificate. And that was the biggest thing for me when everybody else, I would get a certificate and think, okay, now I can go to get this job. And then they'd ask me questions and I was like, I don't know that. That wasn't even on the test. How am I supposed to know that?
Right.
Yep.
And that was so frustrating when it was like, I've been putting in months of time before I learned about this program. I've been putting in months of time to try and get certified. And that content doesn't even like work, especially if I wanted to go to a Microsoft or a Google, because the difference is when I learned the cloud itself, now everything is applicable to every single data center, to every single company. And so now my value is far higher than just getting a certification from one company.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I like what you talked about there, actually learning the content, not just trying to get the answer. It's not like history, who won the battle of XYZ, like
Right.
or math, where it's what's 2 + 2. Like, you have to actually learn the content and know the content in depth. And I remember when you took the time off. A lot of people don't think that I'm paying attention to stuff, but I noticed when there's people that have to step away for any reason. Yours was work related. We've had some others that have had some health issues, some that have had some personal issues where they have to take care of a family member.
Right.
But it goes back to, that's why we've designed it this way, because at the end of the day, if you're actually learning the actual knowledge, it doesn't matter how long you have to take off.
Right.
If you've learned real knowledge and not just plug and play answers, then when you come back, it'll be like hopping back up on a bicycle.
Right.
Maybe not as easy as hopping back up on a bicycle, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not like you're starting over from scratch.
Right. You understand that logic. You take it with you wherever you go. And even like for me, and when I started and everything started to come together, when I looked at different apps, say for instance, I'm shopping at Best Buy, which is an American electronics company. We get to purchase everything. And I sat there and I parked into the first parking areas where you're able to use the app and have everyone bring that out to you. You start thinking about how the app works, the architecture, what's included. How is it going to get from the time I push this button to someone on the dolly pushing that TV out?
It's like, what services and technologies
exactly. Like, okay, so are they talking about, okay, is there some sort of load balancer that they have? What is the type of times of the year? You think about Black Friday, and it just it takes you away, and the next thing you know, it's that type of thing that fortifies your competency, and you're able to just have this discussion. And one of the epiphanies that I had is that the things that I was struggling with were things that I'm able to easily say in passing conversation. And then say, for instance, I would share it with my wife or with some friends of mine, and they would have this look on their face. And you've arrived to a certain degree because you know what it means. Back to the 3, what the tech is, what it does, and how and when you would use it. And it's such a rewarding experience for you.
Yeah, it really is. And just knowing that I'm so close to being able to make a real income. And that was, I think, the thing that sold me is when Mike was saying, okay, you'll be able to make enough money that the course that we offer, that's one day's work. And it was like, wow, you can make that kind of money as a solutions architect. That's incredible, because before I didn't even think there was a 9-to-5 job without a degree that I could even get that you could do something like that. It was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, we definitely want to be mindful because we know the baby is almost here. We want to say if there's anything that you want to say before signing off, Anthony.
No, I would just tell anybody that's on the fence that's watching this, if cloud is for you, just watch some of the YouTube videos. Look at how much content Mike puts out that's free. And when you consider that, you'll know that cloud is going to be this course. There's no course out there like this. You will not regret buying the course. I promise you. So they don't even pay me to say that. So that's why I'm telling you, like, it's 100% worth
it. I actually get asked that, right?
Right. It's like, did you get paid for
that? No, we don't pay anybody anything.
No, you're going to get so many benefits though outside of this, because like even my LinkedIn network, that is just growing. And then what's cool is when they start sending you offers about, hey, check out this job. And it's like, whoa, this is, they never did something like that before. And then there's going to be the next step where recruiters are actually going to reach out to you to say, hey, are you looking? And I just cannot wait to get to that step. And that's going to be just a total game changer at that point, when people are wanting me to come and be a part of their team. And you get opportunities like this where it's going to be on YouTube, where you're going to be seen by hundreds of thousands of people. So you're always getting to practice your skills. You have better communication. You get so much value for what you pay for it. It's insane.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, Anthony. We've got a full house now back here behind the scenes. I gotta figure out how to wrangle all these people in. But let's give Anthony a hashtag get cloud hired.
Yeah, and in hashtag Anthony Gonzalez as well.
Yeah, so we're gonna get a hashtag get cloud hired.
Yeah.
And
thank you guys.
Again, congratulations, Anthony. You got to let us know whether it's a boy or a girl when
Yes.
time
You
comes.
want
Yep.
I'll let you guys know. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for coming, Anthony. Definitely, we enjoyed it, man. You enjoy your family, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All
That's
right.
nice.
That was
Man,
good.
He's got
That was
a bright future, man, for Anthony. He baby girl on the way. He already has 2 twins.
He hopes it's a baby girl.
Yeah, well, that's the hope. That's the hope.
Yeah.
Or he's going to have a trifecta, or he's going to have a game changer. Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a great benefit. And just listening to his story and just the enthusiasm in his voice, and I know he's going to be cloud hired soon.
Oh, he is. So I got a message from Mike.
Of course, Mike cannot, I'll tell you, Mike can't stand still. He doesn't know how to stand still.
He says you guys are doing great. Checked in for a minute. Apparently he did not see the beginning.
He told Mike to go to the beach, and I'm sure he's sitting at home on the computer, on the laptop right now.
Yeah. But yeah, he apparently did not tune in for the very beginning. Otherwise, he would have probably not been happy about that. All right. Well, let's bring in our next person. So the next person, a lot of you are probably familiar with, probably because she's been a little sweet and sour. But let's see. Let's bring in our next guest.
Who is this? I wonder who's knocking on the door. Oh, I think I know who this is. Oh. It's the amazing Child.
It's good to be here.
Well, hello, Child. You are our second contestant.
He set the bar high, so I don't know how much better I can make everything sound.
I think you got something up your sleeve, Child. You always do. We know how you roll, Child, especially working with you today during the architect class. We know, I'm just going to say the accolades. We've seen you fledgling, and now you're spreading your wings. You've come so far. You've done so much. You're an amazing joy to work with. You're cool as all get out, funny, kind. I'm trying to not go down the path, but Child is just a joy to work with, and she's innovative. She's a leader. Strategic. Yeah, I think I'm going to stop where I am right now. Someone's, I'm not at a loss for words ever.
I got to cut you off. She said she didn't want to cry, so we're not going to.
Okay, well, we're not going to do that. We're not going to. But you know what? I'm coming, Child. I'm coming for you.
Yeah. All right. So I wanted to bring Chow on because I wanted someone other than me and someone other than Elonzo and someone other than Mike, because I know you guys are tired of hearing from us. Wanted y'all to hear from someone else that's on the team.
Yes.
Let's see here. I got a little bit of time constraints, so we're gonna do a double whammy. We got another.
Let's get
another surprise. So let's bring in.
Angelo.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hey, it's always good to see you.
Hey, same. Great to see you all too.
Yeah, sorry, we got time constraints for some people, so I got to make sure we get everybody in here.
Yeah.
I know we got Angelo with us. He's available only for a few more minutes. He's a busy individual these days. But
Oh yeah.
Glad to be able to make it.
do what?
So I wouldn't miss it. Glad to be here.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. So since we only got a little bit of time, I want to get straight down to business, Angelo. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself? I don't know if everybody knows who Angelo is. I know who Angelo is, but Angelo is a part of our community, but I'll let Angelo speak for himself.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, glad to be here. Angelo Munoz. I've been, doing a lot of things. Well, with the program and before the program, my experience goes back about 20 years in technology. Spent a lot of time in energy and also healthcare. And, I love technology, love making it a part of a solution for business and helping folks better their lives. So that's really what drives me, is helping people. And Go Cloud was a great medium for that. I was able to improve my communication skills and executive presence and business acumen, at the same time helping people, better their lives. And the efforts we did with Cloud Heroes Africa and other volunteer efforts just was right up my alley. So it was great, and glad to be here.
I like Alex's comment over here. Angelo's coming in from Mike's old house with the piano in the background there.
Mike's gonna sneak out from behind the piano in a second.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They crawl right out the window, crawl right into the window.
Yeah. So for everybody that's not familiar, Angelo is a part of our community. He's been a part of our community for a little less than a year.
Yeah, going on a year now. November will make a year.
Okay, I try to remember most.
Yeah.
Most.
I remember because it was Thanksgiving.
Gotcha. But now, you are you working? Do you want to talk about what you're up to these days? Obviously, you don't have to get into any, too specific about your details.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm an enterprise architect, and I've been specifically, my title is enterprise cloud architect. So I do a lot of strategic work and helping teams formulate standards, helping them ensure that they're following the standards set by the organization, and just being a support to teams and to folks where I can be. Specifically, my focus is on the cloud migrations, multi-cloud strategies, and data strategies, things of that nature.
He makes it sound so humble and
Yeah.
and I'm just plugging in the TV.
That's it, man. Yeah, just glad to be a part of the team and help out. That's a part of it. Being a part of a team is so fulfilling, because you can go at it alone. You can you can be the bright shining star, but when you're a part of a team, it just really, as you get, for me anyway, this is how it was. As you mature in your career, you realize how much better solutions are, and not just solutions, but people, when you make those connections and you work as a team. So that's what I'm all about, is teamwork and helping out where I can.
That's amazing. Yeah. So how has where did you start off in the technical industry, and how, and it may be a little overlap with what you responded to, but how has your initial beginnings as a cloud professional started, and then you got to this current conversion of being a cloud architect into an enterprise architect? How was that dynamic?
Yeah, that's a long story, but I'll make it short. So my journey into technology started as a kid, and I just always had this interest to figure out how things work, especially technology. So I was the one that took things apart and tried to put them back together, the VCR, and ended up with extra parts, but somehow it still kept working. So the extra parts got kind of swept under the rug. Nobody knew about that. And, from there, my interest just kind of swayed into software. I was in school and studying to be going into engineering, and just had this extra class, and they said, go do whatever you need to study, just as long as it's within the curriculum. So I stumbled on this software class, and everything just sort of clicked. From there, fast forward a few years, got in the cloud, and in particular AWS, and was able to help my employer migrate to the cloud. And yeah, the rest is history. That was probably 10 years ago now, 11 years ago. So it's been a fun journey.
That's awesome.
Awesome. So I know we don't have too long with you because you are a busy professional these days. So you'd be surprised. Actually, we asked Balwinder if she could be here, and her exact response was, "I have a 6-hour-long conference call about an architecture for a client," and I'm like, "A 6-hour call?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's nothing. I've done 7+ before." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh wow, that's all day. That's a power conference.
So what? Let's talk about your experience with GoCloud. What would you say was your favorite part about, or the part that stood out the most about GoCloud Careers when you were actively participating? I know you still take part, but not like you used to, I'm sure.
Yeah, there are a few things. So being able to be mentored by somebody who had been there. So in particular, Mike, him coming in with all the heavy experience of the large enterprise experience. My experience was more in small business and, dabbling in medium-sized businesses. I did work with Fortune 200 companies, but it was through the lens of a small business service provider. So I got to see a lot of that, the inner workings of how corporations and how big enterprises work. But seeing it from Mike's view, from an architectural standpoint, really helped me because I could see how it was applied more from a direct influencer than from maybe an integrator or a service provider. And so that was really helpful to be tutored by Mike. Also, his approach is very different. He's very direct, very concise with his language. And so that helped a lot. So you kind of cut away all the fluff, and you had to kind of leave your ego at the door, leave your emotions at the door, because it's just straight up, let's get to business and let's work on this. And I think that's really refreshing. As an educator, you see that it's the most challenging teachers that you learn the most from, and that you for me anyway, that you gain the most from. And so that was a big part of it, was being tutored by Mike. The other part is the networking in the community. So being able to network with folks and connect with people with similar mindsets, similar goals was really great. And then networking, and of course the volunteer opportunity. It was awesome just being in there, different channels and people talking about different things. The humor aspect, but just the friendships. I still have people that I keep in touch with regularly that, we connected in the program, and just, we check on each other, even though we're not, like you said, directly in the program a lot, we still are connected to the program. And then just in our day-to-day life, we check on each other. And so it's just those are the things that stand out to me in the program.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that last part is what I've been trying to figure out what to do about an alumni type network or alumni association.
Yeah.
That's,
what would that look like?
You're like you said, you're still a part. You're still coming back. I mean, we have. I know there's countless people that are working in architect roles or engineer roles that still come back to classes sometimes, or teach classes, like in your case, or Praveen's class. So yeah, I've been trying to wrap my head around what we can do with an alumni network. So, because that's a huge opportunity. As speaking about the messages that you sent to me over the weekend, there's huge opportunities there for a network. So probably gonna have to get with you about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
So anyway, I know you got a tight window. Do you have any last words that you might want to share for us, or for people on YouTube, or for Mike, who says he's not watching but is probably actually watching?
Yeah, Mike is watching. He is. I just want to say, Mike, we appreciate everything. you're like our mentor, our leader. And though, you know, we might not be in the program, we still think of the program. It's part of our history now, part of our future, because the things that we learned in the program stay with us. We learn how to be better people, better leaders, better educators, better technologists, and just those are the things that we carry forward with us. And there are things that we learn from you, things we learn from each other in the program. So it's a great program, a great community you put together, and we're just grateful to be part of it. As far as to my peers, I would say it gets tough sometimes. There was a point in the program where you kind of go through this overwhelming feeling of there's just so much. And that was for me anyway. I don't know if others experienced it, but just stick with it. You know, take your break as you need, but come back and just stick with it. And it'll get better. I won't say it'll get easier, but you will learn the concepts and you'll learn how to, in that process, have more grit and just be able to deal with real world problems. Because once you get into a real corporate environment, you'll be thrown lots of challenges and things that you don't know, things you have to go research on your own, things that you're just like, what in the world? How did they come up with this stuff? You just got to figure it out. You got to know how to leverage your people, talk to people, make friends, and build your network. And so that's a big part of what we learned in the program too. And I was so grateful for it.
Yeah.
You hit on a good point that we've been talking about behind the scenes recently about making some content in the program about, okay, it's gotten tough. You can still make it. You can still do it. It's because we don't have that in there. And that's something that we know almost everybody experiences at some point in the program. I can't do this. It's too much. It's overwhelming, that type of thing. So that's going to be the next piece that we add to the program, is something along those lines. We're trying to figure out what it looks like right now, because I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is something that we hear that some people don't want to mention. They don't mention it. They hold it in, and we need to make sure that they don't. Because if they hold it in, they bury themselves underground and don't come out. So.
Well, or they give up and they just abandon the program,
Right.
And that's not good.
No.
And so, and the thing is, there's a lot of emotional stigma that comes with that, because once you give up, then the desire to try again, it gets so much harder, because then you have that guilt in the back of your mind, and you're just thinking, oh man, I can't go show my face to Mike. I'm embarrassed, or I let Elonzo down, or I let Chris down, or let my peers down. But, all that is just, to me, it's a stepping stone to something greater, because deep inside each of us, we have the potential to be great at whatever it is we're going to be great at. Yeah. It's just, how do we stick with it and go through the challenges to really bring out the greatness that's within us, not for ourselves, but for the other people, for our families and for the people that depend on us, for our employers and the people we really care about. So that's what I would be my thought on that, grit, emotional resiliency, but just sticking with it. Yeah, don't give up. Just keep going. Like we said, take your break as needed. Make sure you have a good support system, somebody you can talk to, whether it's a trusted partner or a friend in the program, or whoever it is. We'll talk to somebody, but it's always good to have that support.
I think we'll let it end with that.
Hey, that's
good.
Better than that, Angelo.
Yeah. Folks, it's been great being with you.
Always a pleasure to see you, Angelo. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
All right.
Be safe.
Bye.
All right. So since we unceremoniously kicked her out a minute ago, let's.
Where's she at?
let's bring her back, man.
There she is.
I'm having too much fun.
Chow has her own theme music, as you can see. That's what happened. We hit the same button, or we need to, at each team meeting. She'll have her own theme music.
Yeah.
Every time.
Chow, I know you don't have long.
Yes.
You too have a life. So
Yes, child has things to do. We can't keep her alone. We can't.
all right. So Chow, let's get down to business.
I'm
So
here.
there's one question that I want to ask you. And it's not so much a question as much as it is a statement. So a lot of people think that this is just Mike that does all this. That Mike is on YouTube. Mike is teaching classes. Mike is this. Mike is that. Mike is that. What's it really like at Go Cloud Careers? Like, what goes on behind the scenes? Like, how many people are there? How much are we doing?
There are actually a lot of work need to be done behind the scene to pull up everything that you can see on YouTube, the live class, the webinar, the Q&A, even in the training dashboard. It's not a one-man show. Like Mike always said, if you want to go far, you have to go with a team. And at Go Cloud Careers, we are a worldwide team. We have people here in Texas. We have people in Florida. We have people in Cameroon. I know we're gonna be expanding soon, and I'm not gonna forget Leo.
I was going to say, you're forgetting Leo.
Yeah, so we are a worldwide team, and I love it here. It actually offered me much more than what I expected to receive when I accepted this job.
That's wonderful.
Hey, stop.
Like,
All
no
right.
more.
So what do you do? What's your favorite part of your responsibilities at Go Cloud Careers?
Well, to be honest, when I first joined the program, I was really overwhelming because I have never joined a program where the first assignment is making a video and tell something about myself for a couple hundred other people in the program to see.
She's like, no.
I was humble. I was humble as an Asian person. I take pride in my ability to do assignments, and I am a really competitive person. I think like I got this, you know. But to start off with, I feel really overwhelming as far as assignment go. However, I am really excited to be able to contribute to help the people who don't have much experience like me, or who don't know what is planning, or who never worked in tech before, have a easier start with the program. That is my favorite project that I'm working on right now.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. How did you come across Chow? How did you find Mike and Go Cloud Careers, and what was your overall goal to become a tech? Did you just decide about it, or how did you get here?
Well, thank you for the questions. Actually, before I found Mike,
This is not an interview, Chow.
You can't escape. We locked all the doors.
Yeah, before I found Mike, I actually tried out a lot of careers, to be honest. I talked to other people. I was a server working in the restaurant. I was a nail tech. I actually tried to do coding for a period of time. I also learned accounting. And I even have a period of time where I even got my mortgage license to help people financing house.
Wow.
And I went to a couple job interview, and I even cried about it because they didn't want me.
Their loss, our gain.
But you know what? I do some research because I want a new life for me. I don't want to be working as a nail tech for the rest of my life. So I can do more. However, I didn't know where to start. I tried to learn to be a help desk person, and that was tough. And that was just so random that I stumbled into a video saying, if you want a job in tech, this is the job that has the best job security and highest paying, and it's saying cloud architect. I do some research. I come across Mike's video, and he was saying, oh, I have a clear path for you of how you're gonna get there, and also the soft skill training. You know, if you want this job, it's more than the technical skill that you need. You need more than that. You will need leadership training, you will need soft skill training, everything that I'm missing. And I feel like a light bulb go off in my head, like, oh my God, you need soft skill. No wonder why they didn't want me when I went to those job interviews. So from that moment, I feel like, so I need this. I need this program. Even for the soft skill, I think that's worth all the money. And to be honest with you, to be able to sit here and share my experience today, I wasn't always be this person, and Chris know this. I feel like my main video about why you shouldn't give up, or how you can dream bigger, or why you should not get 10x AWS certified, or you don't have to start a help desk. Those videos talk about me. You know, it doesn't matter how many times you give up, but if you can back up and start again, pick it back up and fight for it. If it is important for you, fight for it. And look at, I'm here now. And I think it's getting so close that way I can taste it, but I'm not gonna get too
Yeah,
deep.
we're not going to get there. We'll talk about that on the next show.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
That's the whole
So
topic.
I know we got to let you go, Chow. So I'm going to ask you one last question. So one of your responsibilities is reviewing assignments. And so what is your favorite assignment to review? What's your favorite assignment to see from students?
I would have to say the About Me video. It is refreshing to learn from other people, and I also see how much I have grown in this program. Before I joined this program, I don't know what I should answer to that. You know, if you tell me about yourself, I'm probably gonna say, well, I was born and raised in Vietnam. I'm a really competitive person. You know, this is my dream job, and I do whatever it takes to be here. But now that I been in the program for a while, and I have seen what needs to be done, that question can be translated to, what do you have to offer? What can you bring to the table? You know, that should be used as an advertisement for yourself. You shouldn't use this precious time to talk about your personal life or what you have going on in your family. You know, this is the time that you should create the best impression. And I love to see people can improve from that, because throughout the assignment later on, you see how much people change and you see how much people grow. And I love to see that.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah.
we've seen it in Chow, and when I joined in earlier part of the year and saw just from from that short time frame to see how Chow has grown and how much of a help she's always willing to step up. And we've even had conversations, Chow, even on the weekends, on Saturdays, Sundays. And I'm like, okay, Chow, don't you have somewhere to be? I know you have a sister and family, but she still is willing to roll up her sleeves, put herself behind for the sake of the team to make sure that solutions are being realized, that challenges are being identified, and being able to step up and be a willing resource not a grudging one at far be it from that, but someone who's willing and happily able to just provide that solution. Say, I'm here to help Elonzo or Chris or Leo or Eddie or anyone. And that's one of the things about Child that is going to be a benefit for anyone that time that she leaves the nest. So it's always a hats
We're
off
not
to you.
talking about that. We're not talking about that.
We're not going to talk about
I'm cutting it off. I'm
it.
cutting it off.
We'll say that I can't stop speaking the saying praises about Child. So I'll stop. I'm going to have something to drink right now. Child.
There you go.
I
All right.
appreciate it.
So, Child, do you have any last words? We got another. I got a few more back here that are chomping at the bit to get on the.
Yeah,
get
a
on
lot
the
of people
screen.
knocking
Got any
on the
last
door.
words?
I think one thing I would say is decide what you want. If this goal is important for you, if getting this job means that you can change your life, change your family lifestyle, invest, commit 100% of yourself into this, because it will be all worth it. Because what if you give up? Will you go back and doing the same old job that you want to do? What is the other solution? Stick to it and fight through the difficult. I see it's been done before. I love seeing Daniel video, Delroy, even Tampa, and you soon will see me there too.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Speaking of
Thank
which,
you.
I think it'd be good to get a cloud hired in there right now. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, let's get a hashtag get cloud hired. Let me find my little thing here. Let me find it. There we go. Hashtag get cloud hired. So,
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you again. Thank you, Chow.
Thanks, Chow.
It was an honor to be here, and I will be watching on YouTube.
Sounds good. Thank you.
That sounds kind of ominous. That's just gonna.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good night, Chow.
Enjoy, Chow.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Have fun.
Bye-bye. All right. So let's see. Let me see. I've been waiting to do this one.
Well, who is next on our roster?
See, I have a sound just for that.
Ta-da! Oh, Praveen is in the house.
Hi.
What's up, dude?
Nice to see you guys. How are you?
How's everything?
Good, good. After a long time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Glad to have
man.
you back. It's been a while. So I think it was
A
before the
database
summer.
guru.
I think it was before the summer that we had you on here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
How's Mike?
Mike is doing good as long as he
Good.
follows the rules and doesn't do any talking.
We have to put the guardrails on him to not do that, but we're working on it. But he's doing good.
It's kind of house arrest.
Do what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
What is speak arrest? What we can say.
Speak arrest. Yeah.
Vocal arrest. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he's not permitted to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has been silenced.
Yeah.
Medically silenced.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's I know we've got some time constraints with you, Praveen, and of course we've got some other people in the chat that we need to make sure we allow to get on here. So for those of you that don't know Praveen is a part of our Go Cloud community as well. He's been with us for over a year now. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. But he's also been working as a cloud architect for at least half of that time. But he keeps coming back. He keeps taking part in the community. He teaches guest lectures. But instead of me telling you, do you want to share a little bit about yourself, Praveen?
Yes, sure. Thanks for your short introduction, Chris. So, yeah. I've been in this community for more than 1 year. You are right. I think I joined in July last year, maybe. Yeah. July, very initial days. And I learned a lot. And within 2.5 months, I got placed. I got so many offers, and I chose one of the firm, and that is very big firm in USA, financial firm. About myself, I'm working as cloud architects, specialization in big data. Uh, Coming to this course, I learned a lot regarding like related to communication style, listening skill, speaking skill, silence skill, when to be silence, right? If you don't know, at least learn how to keep silent, right? That is very important thing.
That is
So yeah,
probably one of the most important skills, and it took me forever to listen to
yeah,
people that were telling me that.
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah.
So it's all about me. And Chris, if you have any specific question, I can, I would be happy to answer that, address that if you
Oh,
want
I
to.
got plenty
Yeah.
of questions. You know me.
Yeah.
I'll see if Alonzo's got any questions.
Yeah, I got a few, but I'll let you take the floor, Chris, because I see you have one and
Well, yeah,
ready to
I
go.
got a whole, I got a whole,
Oh, oh no.
I got a new tablet for this.
Praveen, buckle in, buddy. He's got the
Oh.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
so you talked about your time with us at Go Cloud Careers. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're currently doing as a career?
Yeah, so official profile is cloud architect, right? But actually, what I'm doing, what people are thinking, is a different thing, right? And what written in the book, career as cloud architect. So most of the time, I'm listening to the business people, understanding the problem, challenges. That is one part, and listen from business perspective, like how to improve the business, was convert internally and translate those business communication in your own technical language, whatever experience you have. Like I have 20 years of experience in database, big data, cloud, everything. So I map those business challenges with my 20 years of experience in database, and I try to correlate. You see the problem, and this is my experience, what I can do. So understanding the business problem challenges, that is one part. Coming with the business solution, I'm not talking about technical solution, business solution, that is very important and critical skill set. And you don't learn anywhere, you will have to learn by yourself. And then getting confirmation from the business people, whatever I got it from you, understood, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is the probable solution. And then proceed towards the technical solution, right? So
Mm.
lots of documentation, sign off, lots of meetings. uh, Obvious stress will be there because you are not from the business side, you are from the technical side. So you will have to think from business perspective, and the
Mm.
same time think about them, they are not from technical side, you business guys, and they will have to understand from your perspective, right? So those things are there. So I'm putting doing that, lots of diagram, communication to engineering team, how to implement, what not to implement. So those things I'm doing.
So Praveen, you talked about your focus is database, big data.
Yes.
So with everything that you've learned prior, how much tech are you touching when it comes to big data?
uh, Honestly speaking, now you will have to define how much tech you are touching, right? Like either you talk about tech or you go and you code, right?
Yeah.
That is
Are
another
you?
part.
Yeah.
I don't code, but I'm touching the tech.
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Because you will have to,
there's a big difference between talking about it
Yeah.
and doing it.
Doing
yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah. So you will have to map, right? So let's say the very popular example. Let's say today you think about you don't have any SSN and government is coming with concept of SSN, social security number, right? Now they are saying that we are going to introduce social security number, and this is the importance of social security number, and what is social security number, what are the limitations, what are the security aspects. They are telling you the business requirement, right? Now you are the tech guy. Now it's your responsibility to think through technical term, right? How to arrange those information into the hard disk or into the database so that anyone can access that, how to secure that, right? So at that level tech I am touching. Now your engineers are there, they will implement it. So that is only
Yeah.
level.
Well, that makes
Actually,
sense. That
yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah.
You have to have that technical knowledge
yeah,
to be able to communicate it, but you're not doing it.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
you
again, if no one is there to do that, then yes, you are role model, you are hero, and you will have to do that, at least POC. So you will have to, because you are leader, right? So you will have to lead that. You will have to set example that, okay,
Mm.
these are the steps you will have to follow, and your team can follow that. But you will have to set an example. But again, that is not coding.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a question that I see a lot of people ask when we have longer form interviews. So I'll go ahead and ask it for the audience. What's your favorite part of your job?
Mm.
Coffee time.
Nothing like a good cup of coffee, right? For me.
Walk post lunch. Okay, apart from fun, yeah. So my favorite part, I think, when I understood the business requirement, when I come back to my desk, I start to put my thoughts or my solution in form of diagram. That is like I feel, oh my God, how much I know, right? So start to put your thoughts on diagram and then present it. So these two things are my favorite. Like I love it.
When
When
you
you are
when you
putting in,
when
yeah,
you when you see it happening, when you can visualize the solution, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
exactly. So when I say I put on the diagram, that means I'm providing the solution. I'm visualizing the solution. So it's not diagram. You are drawing random diagram, right?
Mhm.
It's solutioning. So yes.
You you would have loved today's class. You would
Yeah.
have loved it a lot. So we're keeping Mike from talking as best we can. So Mike is not teaching class this week. Um, so we actually had Alonzo and Chow lead the class and had all of the students break out. I think there was 10 rooms that they broke out into, and everybody got to take part in designing a solution. Not just, normally our classes have a small group of people that design the solution, but today we let everybody design the solution.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
and
and that
then
is, yeah.
and those groups are going to present their solutions on Thursday. So you would
Actually,
have
so actually another thing. So I learned it from this class, like our community from Mike, how important our solution designing that diagram and presentation is. Like I used to speak a lot technical things. Now I don't speak too much technical. I try to cut it, minimize. Though I speak, but like I minimized 80%. And that is good thing in our community, Go Cloud Careers, that everybody learns diagram and presentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So
So Go ahead.
I'll let Alonzo get one more question in, and then
Sure.
we'll let you close it, Praveen, after Alonzo's question.
Okay. Now, Praveen, I'll keep it simple. What was without any specifics, what was your more challenging experience with a particular client request, and how did you solve for that with the team?
Okay.
Alonzo with the tough question. All right. Welcome
Yeah,
welcome to your interview, Praveen.
Welcome to the Terror Dome, Praveen.
most challenging, right? Honestly speaking,
And did they have enough coffee?
everything is challenging. Whatever you listen from business people, right?
Yeah.
The language, jargons, acronyms, those things are challenging. But problems, business solution wise, I got a requirement from business people, and that is not related to big data. Though it was talking about the data, but it was not related to big data. It was something related to data you have to show through your static website. And like you cannot have public bucket, you cannot have without https, you cannot have it without certificate, you should have public domain and those things. And I'm not from application or web programming field or background, but I had to do that. I had to provide the solution within the organization limit. And in organization, like they have lots of limitations and restrictions. So first I had to understand the limitations and restrictions and constraint. So first I provided the solution, and then blindly like, no, this is not going to work in our firm. Why? These are not approved AWS services. Oh my God. What you can do? Your first solution gone, right?
Right.
Blindly rejected. Again, okay, go through that wiki page, Confluence page. What are the approved services and tools? Those only you will have to select. Okay. Again, went through that. No, this is not going to work. And we need some other tool or service which is available on AWS, and that is not approved. Okay, you will have to talk to that team who will do POC and beta version, and they will approve that solution or that particular service available in AWS. So these kind of communication, like level 1, level 2, different team, you will have to do cross team communication. So I believe rather than technical, that communication is most challenging thing for me. Like,
Okay.
it's tough. Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense. I think that's one of the biggest difficulties of humanity in general.
Yeah, and that we learn. Yeah, that is beauty, right?
So, all right. Well, I know we can't have you forever, and I've got to get.
No, we can discuss some more questions or some more topic you want. Still, I have 10 minutes.
Well, I've got to get some other people in here.
Okay, sure.
Also. So I want to give you an opportunity for some last words. If there's anything else that you want to share with us or with the people on YouTube, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So whoever is preparing for cloud architect or aspirants, right? So what I would say, don't focus too much on technical stuff, right? When I say don't focus too much, it doesn't mean that don't focus, right? You will have to focus, but at least more than 50% you will have to work on your communication style, when to pause, when to be silent, when to use simple language, when to say no, I don't know, right? Those things, it's very important. And presentation skill, it is very important. As Mike says, like business acumen, executive presence, those things you will have to work on. That is very important. And other than that, I would say in your field, at least prepare 3-4 use cases. When I say prepare, means prepare presentation, diagrams, points, what is that? Let's say S3. What is S3? How does it work? When shall you use S3? So those kind of justification and points you should prepare. This is very important for your confidence as well as for your interview. Yes, so that is what I would like to suggest.
All right.
I appreciate that, Praveen. That's the world's pearls of wisdom there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to be reaching out to you because I think we do need to get you on here for a longer show. We threw this one together at the last minute because I succeeded in getting Mike into timeout. So I had to come up with a show for tonight at the last minute. But I'm definitely going to be reaching out to set up a longer show with you. And then I know that everyone will enjoy that. I'll enjoy it. I'm sure you will. So thank you again for popping on here. I really appreciate it. And can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good to see you, Praveen. See you next time.
Yeah, all the best for all the aspirants, students. So bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
So we've got some good wisdom, some good feedback from everyone. It's been. I'm hoping everyone's been enjoying what we've been sharing so far and being entertained while Mike's recuperating, and Chris and I are really bringing forth a lot of great guests that everyone has probably have personally had interactions with during projects or just overall mentions by Mike himself. So I'm having a good time.
Oh, I'm having a blast. This has been great.
Yeah.
We need to keep Mike out of here more often.
I think we're gonna have to make this a regular thing too.
All right.
Actually, save the voice.
Actually, you know what? Give me a hashtag, Chris and Elonzo, if you want to show from Chris and Elonzo.
Yeah,
not to replace Head in the Clouds, but in addition, give me a hashtag Chris and Elonzo if you want us to do our own show.
That would be fun. I think that's a good idea.
Actually, I'm going to create a poll. No, that's too much work. I don't feel like doing work on myself. Yeah, hashtag Chris and Alonso. I'm playing smart here.
Yeah, let's get a hashtag. You want it?
Yeah. Let's see. Hashtag Chris and Alonso. See, I can do this. That doesn't take as much time as a poll.
Yeah.
All right, so let's bring in our next guest. I don't want to. Got a couple of people that are waiting. I don't want to keep them too long.
Who's
so let's bring in our next guest here. There we go.
Dr. Johnson is in the house.
Hey.
Yeah, if I don't behave, I'll be out of this house, but that's okay.
It's always good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking of people that we could bring on that everyone might enjoy, and I felt like Dr. J was a good guest to try and bring on. So I reached out to him this afternoon. There's only one rule. Dr. J. There's only one rule. You cannot.
Polo.
The polo.
Yeah, the polo you're wearing.
Oh. Oh yeah, the UT Martin Skyhawk polo. Yeah.
Those Skyhawks.
All right, so there's only one rule: you can't talk about me.
That was actually all my questions, so you can't eliminate that.
I got so much dirt it'd take all night.
How much you want for it?
Yeah, I brought the shovel.
I'm a businessman. Yeah.
Let's wheel and deal, Dr. J.
All right. Well, for those that might not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just a quick background and what your relationship is with us at Go Cloud Careers?
Absolutely. Well, I teach at the University of Tennessee at Martin. I'm an associate professor of management. I've been teaching about 40 years now, give or take. Not good at math like all you tech weenies are. Not good at that. So my areas of specialty is management, like human resource management, the soft skill stuff, motivation, communication. And what do I do with Go Cloud? Well, Christopher told me that. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris. Chris told me that, when we were having discussions, when his mother and I were visiting with them in Florida, said that they would like someone to come in and talk about soft skills. And I said, I'd be more happy to do that as long as you can make sure that I have somebody that can help with the technology part of getting me online, because I do not do technology. I'm here to tell you. That's his mother. She's the one that taught all the technology, computer stuff. I'm the one that looks for a, manual typewriter, but we'll leave that at that. What if you don't mind, Chris, I wanted to follow up a little bit on what the gentleman that you just had on. I hope I don't destroy his name. Praveen, is that correct, or is that close?
That is
Okay.
correct.
He was talking about the importance of communication and listening, and talking about making business solutions and so forth. And he made a very good point without him actually coming out and saying it, but he alluded to it very carefully, was to know your audience. And he talked about how he is now talking to folks in the business side of things, where he cuts out a lot of the technology talk, all the, the buzzwords and that type of stuff. And I found that very interesting, because today, matter of fact, my lecture today was on communication and the importance of effective communication and to knowing your audience. And it was really good to hear someone that is in your program or has been in your program. I can't exactly remember what his position is, to bring out the importance of those skills. So it kind of gives me a pat in the back saying, hey, we're actually teaching the stuff that people need to know in the college classroom. So with that, if y'all have got any questions or whatever that I can answer, as long as you do not talk about technology. I can't answer. I will give you the answer that my students give me every day, is that I don't know, or I didn't read that, or I forgot my book, or whatever it is. But any other thing, I'll be more than happy to, offer whatever you think's important from me.
Okay, well, I'll draw first blood, and I'll say, when it comes to dealing with a stubborn, antisocial, say for instance, a disgruntled individual as a part of the team, what would be your strategy to try to improve upon their life skills, or what would be the alternatives to handling that type of situation?
Okay, now what I do is, and that's something that's last week I talked about teams and groups. So hey, we're hitting it and everything. Yes, there are situations in which sometimes you have a team member that is not pulling their weight, not doing their job, and it is going to affect the entire group. I refer to it as a cancerous growth. If you don't take care of that situation, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So how do I approach that, or how do I recommend that you do that? Personally, the way that I do it, the first thing that I do is, I talk to the other team members about what's going on. I just need information, gather information and so forth. And then I'm the type of person that will call that individual in. We have a one-on-one conversation. I do not believe in having that type of conversation as a group meeting, because I don't think that's fair, because you put people on the spot and you embarrass them. And then you got another hill to climb. So what I usually do is I sit down and I discuss the situation, discuss the problem. I do not criticize. What I try to use it as a teaching moment. I try to be positive in how I'm going to motivate that individual to change their behavior. Sometimes I have found many times that the problem that they're having, and that they're being disgruntled, or as I like to say, have their grumpy drawers on. The reason that they have that sometimes has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on at work. It could be something that's outside of work. A lot, maybe it's family situations, marriage situation, whatever it may be. I find that a lot of times business organizations and leaders a lot of times have this mindset that when a person comes to work, that they come into the building, they're supposed to leave all their problems outside the building. And anybody that believes that, I got a stupid stamp that you can pop them on the forehead with. Because, people have lives, okay? And their problems are not, you can't leave them at home. If you have a sick child, if you have a sick parent, if you're having, issues at home, or whatever kind it may be, that's going to affect work. So a lot of times the problem is not that they don't want to do the job, or that they can't do the job. It's the fact is there's something that's bothering them, or pulling away their time, from the actual work. So as the gentleman mentioned earlier, problem solving, you can't solve a problem until you identify the problem. Okay. So I try to take some time to find out what the simple issue is. And then if I am qualified to address that issue, then I'm going to do it. If it has something to do with work, I'm going to do it. If it's outside of work, if it's that their children are sick or they're having problems in their relationships or whatever it is, I will have references of people they can go and get help with, that I will recommend that they do that with. So you got to be very careful of privacy issues and so forth. So hope that answers your question, Elonzo, or at least it got in the ballpark.
Oh yeah, spot on, Dr. J. Spot on.
So I want to ask a question because I know we don't have too much time. It's not like our other shows where we can have you on.
What type of young man was Chris growing up? I think that's what Chris wanted to share.
What?
Yeah, no, we won't go there.
No, we'll
let Chris do that.
Yeah. So you and Dr. Long have joined us as guest lecturers for our career development programs, and we brought you on to bring on the business and soft skills and the leadership skills. Can you speak to the importance of these skills in any career, not just a tech career or a car dealership career? These skills are important in pretty much any career and in life in general. Can you speak to the importance of soft skills and emotional intelligence, and why our tech career program focuses on these skills as much as we do?
Right. Well, from my perspective, when I read the web page of what you're offering, what your company organization is offering and everything, and I came away from like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do that stuff because I don't understand it. But technical skills are one thing, but soft skills are something that's going to get you through any situation that you put yourself in. I think it's important to understand time management, goal setting, customer service, communication. Those are going to do you well in any career that you find yourself in, or basically in a situation that you find yourself in. Some of the times, one of the examples that I like to use is how it can be used, and you didn't mention this, Chris, and we'll see how much you remember, is I give an example: planning, organizing, directing, controlling, and staffing. That's the basic principles of management. Okay. Lonzo, you probably remember those if you took a management course. I think you are a marketing background.
Yes.
So yes. So the example that I use, I say, okay, let's plan a wedding. Think about planning a wedding. What all is involved in planning a wedding? You think about this: planning, organizing, directing, controlling. You got to choose everything in the entire world. You can take these skills. You got to motivate people to do the same. You got to motivate people to do their job. You got to organize people. You got to go out and get everything set up where, the flowers, the venue, and all that kind of good stuff. And I promise you this, and Christopher probably has made the same mistake that I did. The answer is to a question when the bride-to-be ask you a question. They get tired of hearing, oh, baby, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. You got to be happy. Let me tell you what, you will get motivated very quickly after about the third time you say that, because you're going to have your rear end handed to you. Same thing in other business situations, folks. Think about this. If you keep telling your boss or you keep telling your team members, oh, it doesn't really matter how we approach this. How do you want to approach this and so forth? You know what? Your worth is nothing then. You're wasting everybody's time. You've got to be able to provide input. You got to be able to provide information. You got to be able to provide experiences that you've had in the past so that you can be a good part of the team. And that calls for soft skills. Your computer folks or your cloud architects folks can do that part. But when they have to talk to business people and find out what business people want, just like Praveen was talking about a while ago, he has to listen to what they want. It sounds like to me he's learned the concept of listening and communicating and talking. So all of these skills can do you well in whatever situation you find yourself in. How to motivate people, how to communicate with them, how to pick your change agents. Think about that situation. So we could talk for an hour on that, but I know that I probably said too much as it is. Go ahead, Chris. Next question.
Okay, Doc J. I'm thinking, based on your background, I know you're very familiar with HR and understanding these type of processes. When it comes to how would you, what would be your formula for success towards, say, for instance, you're teaching in class, and we can possibly apply this to a presentation with technology. What would be your favorite strategy on how a student would present, and how would they be successful with that?
Okay, so you're talking about how to make presentations. Is
Correct.
that what you're at? Okay, here we go. All right, we had that discussion today too, also, by the way. Okay, one of the things, first of all, too many times people like to use PowerPoint. My goodness, they think that is the end all to everything is PowerPoint. You're going to put all the little pictures up on the wall and so forth. What I suggest you do is keep in mind this. I have been to so many PowerPoint presentations where they put everything they're going to say on the blasted PowerPoint, and then they turn around and read it to me. Well, they lose me in about 5 minutes because I'm thinking about that red Solo cup after I get out of here. I'm thinking about everything else in the world. So in presentations, what I suggest you do, if you're going to use PowerPoint or something like that, or handouts to that type of stuff, what I suggest you do is you just have key points up there where you can refer to it and then talk about it. Don't read stuff to people. And also, again, know your audience. I've been in presentations, professional presentations in theory, where they have these little animated characters zooming around in cars and flying all over and I'm going, that is not professional. We're talking about professional people here. We're not talking about sixth graders. So you want to get to the point. You want to keep it simple. You need to never, ever assume that they know everything that you're talking about. Again, know your audience. If I'm talking to your folks, yes, I know these people are educated. These people have worked in the real world for the most part. So there's a level that I'm going to talk to them on. But I'm not going to use a PowerPoint presentation where I read everything to them. If I'm going to do that, I always tell people, if you're going to do that to me, email me the PowerPoint. I'll read it myself. If I have questions, I'll send you an email. So know your audience. I would think a presentation, I know this is probably going to step on some toes, probably shouldn't be more than 15 minutes at the most, and then allow for questions. 15 minutes at the most, and I'm pushing it on that. You should be able to make your presentation, give a little bit of background, identify the problem, give them the solution, then say, okay, what questions do you have? You don't want to waste people's time in a blasted meeting because I'm telling you, 75% of the meetings that are called a lot of times don't need to be called. It can be done over email.
Provide an executive summary.
There you go.
And just be done with it. Like you said,
be done with it and let them ask questions.
There it is. And be able to just get to the point, succinct. And then you're dealing with leadership. They have zero time. So if you call them to a meeting, it better be for a very good reason, and it better be informative, and it allows them to provide solutions for them to make for those decisions. So yeah, I totally agree with you, sir.
Something else that you want to keep in mind is when you talk about leadership, there are two types of leaders. You have the formal leader that's recognized by the organization. Then you have the informal leaders, the ones that are down in the trenches, that are doing the work every day. They can probably get more out of your people than that formal leader who is supposed to be smart and has a college degree. Okay. How often do they get down into the trenches with the people? I always tell folks in my classes, I say, learn these informal leaders. Go out and talk to the old geezers, the young geezers, whoever's been there forever, and say, how is it really done? Can you give me some guidance and that type of stuff? Use both of them, formal and informal. A lot of people forget about the informal folks. In my situations, I rely heavily on a secretary. They know more than anybody. They know where the bodies are buried. They know who to call. They know everything. I go and I say, this is what I need. Can you get it for me? They call other secretaries. Nobody calls me. They call my secretary because they know I'm going to say, let me talk to Cindy.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, get the information there quickly, succinctly, and allow people to ask questions to get clarification and then move on.
Awesome, Dr. Johnson. Is there any other last words you'd like to share with the community?
All I can say is this, is to bone up on your soft skills. The most important skill any individual will have in their entire life, if they're going to be effective, is the ability to effectively communicate. Keyword effective. And the other skill, part of that is listening. There is a difference between listening and hearing. Some of you have failed the math test already. We won't go back past that because you didn't listen. Okay? So we won't discuss that one anymore. But communication is the most important skill. If you are not able to communicate effectively, I don't care how smart you are in cloud architect or planning weddings or being a janitor. If you can't communicate, you're not going to be as successful.
Dr. Johnson, words of wisdom. Thank you. You always come back and it's always new things, even for experience or laymen to be able to apply and reinforce that to be more successful. So I appreciate you, sir.
Sure. All right. I've enjoyed it, Chris. Chris, you'll get the bill.
Oh, thank you. You know where to send it, Alex.
Yeah, Alexandra, because you have no money.
Exactly. There you go. Send it to Alex. Or better yet, send it to Sunny. She'll pay you in catnip.
Yeah, I got 3 new bananas sitting over here.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Johnson.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye. All right. So
it's always cool talking to that.
Imagine growing up with that. That's
no nonsense, straight shooter. You don't have to need. You don't need to pre.
I had him in high school too.
So he was a teacher in your high school as well as college.
Yes, he taught at the
nothing.
Yeah, he taught at the high school for those like continuing like ed credits they give professors. You know, college professors, they got to publish, they got to volunteer, they got to do all this stuff. So anyway,
you go to school, and then how's your day at Chris? Oh, I already know. I heard what happened in your XYZ class. Better
yet, he was first period. So guess who couldn't be late? Guess who couldn't?
So did you go to school with him and get out of the car with your teacher?
If I was in trouble and had the car taken away, yes. Anyway, we got one last guest on here. We're keeping
who's next? Who is the last but not least guest for us?
All right, so I apologize preemptively, but we'll get you in here, and you let us know how long you want to stick around. So let's bring in our next guest.
Oh yeah, next.
There we go,
Marla. Now I'll tell you, Marla, she's awesome. She's capable, credible, but she's also a hometown favorite because we grew up in the same city. So I got special love for Marla.
Yay. Hey, Elonzo, homie.
Hey, homie, what's going on?
All of my favorite people. How are you tonight?
Oh, we're doing phenomenal. We've had just guest after guest, dropping knowledge after knowledge, and we want to hear from you. We want to know about you and your successes and your interactions and experiences with Go Cloud Career. So I'm going to zip it and let you take the reins.
Okay. Good. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great night. I jumped at the chance when Chris sent this email today. I have to tell everybody how awesome Mike and these cats here are. So, but I want you to know like what led me here in the first place. So I spent 25 years or so selling technical solutions through a major carrier, Verizon, and managing relationships with with major companies, this sort of thing. But they gave me a package. I left. I was happy to go. I started a business. I'm really creative, so I opened a portrait studio. Well, something happened a couple of years ago that shut that down. So I was always kind of interested in this idea of the security part, and so I spent a whole lot of money on this cybersecurity boot camp, since I had some time on my hands. And the thing is, after I finished it, I didn't really feel like I knew anything, to be really honest. I think they meant well, but a lot of money, but not a lot of knowledge. But the main thing was I started Googling around, and I was looking for, certified ethical hacker jobs. But at the same time, cloud architect would just pop up. And then the money was like almost double. And I'm like, no, I was looking for certified. Wait a minute. Let me start looking up cloud architect. And then I found Mike just through that Google. And actually, I'd seen him months before I started. I didn't even know he had this class. I just started watching his videos. And he's the only guy or person who said, don't get all those certifications. And I was like, that sounds very much like somebody who's not trying to shaft me. So I don't know. But anyway, but I got a lot of good information just from his free videos. But then I was still going down this other road. And then I was like, let me go back to that guy. And I realized he had these live Q&As. I'm like, that's pretty cool. So I signed up. He said I signed up for a whole lot of them. I don't remember that. But I was asking a lot of questions. And it was so cool that he answered them live the way he did. And that he had recruiters and like everything sounded pretty cool. Like it was just actionable information. And then the thing that sold me literally, I mean, I literally looked at a whole bunch of videos, asked a lot of questions. But what sold me is that he said, my students build their own cloud. I was like, that's it. So then I signed up.
You dropped the mic, huh, Marla?
That's it. I said, what? Don't even try it. So then I signed up, and I have loved it ever since. It's been, I mean, really, I have to be honest, like, I did not expect the community aspect. I'm just like, boom, I'm in here. I'm going to get some knowledge and keep it moving. No. The biggest surprise and major bonus was meeting all you guys and meeting all the people who are in the program at the same time. And I mean, there are names I could mention, and they just so positive and supportive just in the chat, in the live classes. That was like what I loved the most at first. And then, and of course, Mike, you know, and I love that he's a straight shooter and he's like, nope, do it again. No. And he wasn't doing, you know, he's not going to let you just sit there, and he's really moving people along. Like you could sit on one call and hear an engineer type person just totally shift the way they communicated stuff. So I'm just like, right away, you see the results of his advice and his knowledge. So I've been very happy to be here. It's been a fun time. I'm almost ready to jump out there, but you know, because of course I've had to balance working full time, taking care of a household. And so it's so much cooler than feeling, you know, 4 months and you're out or 3 weeks and you're out and that sort of thing. But yes, that's been my experience. Very sincere guy, very enthusiastic guy who really loves sharing his knowledge.
All right. That's awesome. So I was going to ask you, what's your favorite aspect of our program, our Go Cloud Careers? And I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. Unless you've already said it, I don't know. You may have. I'm not sure.
But there's so many things. I would say like number one was just that there's this community of great people that you get to know from all over the world. You know, you're directly connected, supportive of each other, everything like that. Now, beyond that, I love the live, just that things can go this way or that. And that I even like, it's just like the teaching style. I haven't had that experience yet where it's kind of organic. I mean, Mike has an idea, he knows exactly where he's going, but it's like jump in and listen. And you know, like we always say at the beginning of every class, you know, first 2 or 3 weeks, you know, maybe about a month, you're going to feel a little bit lost, but actually you're going to start to understand what, you know, what we're talking about within that time frame, because he breaks it down in such a way that this complex tech is just very matter of fact. You know, of course you secure something. And in fact, it's like I went through all his videos finally after 1,000 years. I went through all of his videos and then I just summed everything up after I finally got through there. It's all about, you know, relieving, you know, preventing overwhelm, like layers of it's like you can sum it all up into 3 major things, you know, as much security as you can afford, prevent overwhelm, you know, read replica, CDN, da, da, da. So it's a bunch of stuff that you learn by just having those conversations with people who might be further along, but also just going through the portal. I mean, he really just lays it out so succinctly. And, you know, one of the things that caught me probably the first time was he was like, you know, say you have a Corvette and you want to, you know, carry a package. You know, how much can you carry? It's like, well, obviously just a little bit, you know, but say you have a semi, I can carry a whole bunch, but I'm slow. to explain, why you use certain, certain things, an application load balancer versus a network load balancer, something like that. But that, so that's another aspect, just that he really breaks things down in just very easy to understand manner. And a lot of people like out there or anywhere when you're looking for a new position or wanting to move on, they'll say, use what you had in your past history to apply it to this. And you don't always know how to do that. And so even though I've been, worked in tech for 25 years, I'm really creative. So I've also been an interior designer, a commercial designer. In my mind, after I listened to Mike for a long time, for, a few sessions, maybe a couple months, I was like, it sounds very much like the same kind of principles. You have to assess what the client needs. There's containerization of the space. You got to do some security. You have to have some private spaces and some open spaces. So one day I finally came on when he wanted, hey, Marla, explain something. And so I explained the process of designing for a commercial client. And he said, that's it. I was like, cool. So I actually can actually transfer those skills. So, and then to hear him do that with an EMT and to do that with a psychoanalyst and that sort of thing. So, I mean, there's just so much that one can learn from this. I rave all the time, and I do have to tell people that no, I am not a paid spokesperson. So I'm happy to, I'm just happy to be here. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, definitely. So that made me think of something. Oh wow, it just disappeared. What's it like as a student or participant in the program? What's it like for you when you see this success of other students? When you see Angelo talk about getting cloud hired, or you see Bob Welch talk about getting cloud hired, or you see Coyote or Daniel or any of these people, what's it like? Because I felt like that was something that was missing earlier this year, and that's why we brought it out, because I said, we need to bring these to people.
Yeah.
It's from my perspective, I thought that it would be an encouraging piece, because everybody reaches a point where they're like, can I do this?
Yeah.
Is it possible? So tell me if what that's like for you, if it has any, I don't know, it may not affect you at all. I don't know.
Well, of course it does, Christopher. It was genius. So it was genius. I loved when you started doing the recordings of the videos, because, it's not that you didn't know that was probably going on. Honestly, we have the Slack channel and people say, hey, I'm behind. But it was really nice of you to collect them in video form. It's inspirational. It actually confirms what that I know I'm learning something valuable. And wow, look, somebody actually came in here, someone who didn't have this certain, this traditional form of education, just walked right into a finance job, finance cloud architect job. So it really does two things. It confirms that this is real knowledge that you're receiving here. The certificate thing is just a side note to help you get noticed, but it is absolutely not. It does not connote that you have knowledge. The other thing is, it's just inspirational. I love seeing young Daniel transform in front of my eyes. That was awesome. To just see people, because Mike hits on all of every aspect. And so when I first came in, it's like weird, because so many people are out there and they want to sell you whatever. And so you hear and you're just like, is this guy, I'm from city. Is this guy for real? I don't know. Elonzo knows. From the big city. You gotta be like, is he sincere? But he is truly sincere. He's very enthusiastic. I mean, I don't even know how he keeps track of everyone, and he will know that, you might, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, or he will answer. I don't even know how he has that many hours in the day, but we really appreciate it. And so I'm so glad that you guys came on to alleviate him for a little while, because I could hear it in his voice. I've had that that laryngitis thing, and the only way is just to stop talking for like a week. So, and I know that's hard for him. So I'm just glad for that. But yes, to see others to have presented that Christopher for Chris. I'm sorry. I know you're dead.
The formal full name, like Chris is in trouble.
Right.
People are gonna start calling me Christopher now.
But I think that was genius for you to start recording that, because it's inspirational, and it really shows that the program is what it says it is. You know, wants to get everyone hired, cloud hired.
Oh, that's wonderful. I got so many questions, but I know I gotta curtail that to a short few. But when it comes to the how, and maybe this might be an overlap. How do you feel about the comparison when you first joined the community, and how you've seen people progress from A to Z, and how everyone is kind of looking back behind them, paying it forward, and how has that dynamic changed you when you first got into Go Cloud Careers?
Again, just impressive. Every time I see somebody come back, I know why. Yeah. So it's the type of thing where you're like, you know, Mike needs some, drop of a hat. Yep, I'll do it. And so I know why Pravin comes back. I know why Angela comes back. I know why people fill in. I know why people who are on the Go Cloud team, who were originally students, joined in. So it just, I mean, I get it. It's just, I think that, and what I love about it is that you can come back, and that people reach out. People reach out to me. I reach out to other people. If I feel like they need help, I'll reach out. If they want some, you know, say there's something I can help them with, they reach out to me, and I do what I can. And it just feels, but you know, that always, it's like with anything, if you've ever worked anywhere or even just visited a store, everything flows down from the top. So the management sets the tone. And so that is definitely a just direct result of Mike being who he is, and how he has designed the program, and how he has connected his community. So I think it's great. I love that everyone comes back. And what I hope is that as people move on, you'll have this network of people to you know, he says it's a team effort. Perhaps your team doesn't have the best engineers, but I can reach out to, say, for example, I'll just give you an example, later on and down the line, and even as a matter of, oh, I want to move on to a different business, you know, do you know of anything at your location? So just like you were saying, Chris, perhaps an alumni sort of thing. But it's just such a large and diverse group. It's a lot of fun, even though I'm worn out. Because I'm working all the time, but I try to jump in when I can to do extracurricular stuff because I enjoy it.
So, I know we've kept you a little longer than we had asked you to, so I guess we'll let you wrap it up.
Yes.
I want to thank you for joining us, Marla. So if you've got any last words that you might want to share.
Yes, anybody who might possibly be on the fence, believe me, you will make the best choice that you will have made in terms of your whole educational career. There is no reason, to hesitate. So what I always tell anyone who asks is do a deep dive on the Go Cloud YouTube channel. That's what I did before I actually made the decision. You will find that there's just a lot of information. Mike's generosity is just overflowing. You can get a lot from that free channel, honestly. But going ahead and signing up for the training program, you'll get so much more. So that's it. I just want to make sure people feel very confident if they were thinking about signing up. I'm so glad for everyone who came here tonight. and appreciate you listening to me babble on. So thank you, Chris, and thank you, Elonzo, for having me.
It's always a pleasure to see you and talk to you, Marla, and just hear you, just so much positive energy. that you exude all the time. So it's always a pleasure.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Thanks, Marla. Have a good night.
Guys, you too.
Take care.
Bye. Oh, wow.
That was a phenomenal lineup, Chris. I think, you know, we love Mike, but you know, it's like it was a good time tonight.
That was. It was definitely a fun show. One thing that I really liked about it is that there was a lot of, you just mentioned it, that there was a lot of energy.
Yes.
From everybody, from Anthony, who started it, to Marlo, who ended it. And for those of you that don't know, Marlo was actually back there backstage since Anthony was on.
Yeah. That's why I was kind of like, I don't want to ask any more of her, you know, but it's like, you know, you just enjoy Marla. She has such a great story. Her charisma, her gravitas is just a natural occurrence with her when she communicates, and just that interaction of sharing her knowledge and how her experience has been. It's just, you know, it gets infectious and wanting to learn more.
It really does. It's kind of like Chow. It really is. It's like Chow.
You know, we always have, we can't ever stop talking about Chow and the rest of the team and everyone who just puts forth such a tremendous effort to make sure that day-to-day operations is going, and you know, Mike, yourself and me, you know, convening meetings, strategizing, coming up with innovations and how we're going to take the next 6 months or the next year into successful and leverage what we know for Go Cloud Careers, and we couldn't do it without them. And this type of thing that we're able to do and freestyle and share ourselves and give Mike a break. Yeah, we got to do more of it, man.
Yeah, and to give everybody a little perspective, you know, this is not something that was planned before today.
Yeah. This
was planned. We found out that we were going to be doing this at 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Like right before, a little bit before 10, right before Elonzo and the teams did the architect class this morning. I called Elonzo and I'm like, Elonzo, here's what we got to do. And while Elonzo and them are teaching the architect class, I'm over here organizing. And I only had to reach out to, let's see, how many people did I reach out to? Give me just a second. Let's see. I reached out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I reached out to 10 people. 50% return rate in less than 12 hours.
Not a bad.
Just to give you an idea of how these people feel about the community, and how everybody feels about the community, not just the people that are reached out to, but the response rate was actually even higher. I had 3 people respond to me saying, everybody ultimately responded to me. 3 responded to me saying they couldn't because of work obligations. And 2 ended up responding to me while we were on the live stream. They couldn't make it because of work obligations. But I got 100% response rate, but 50% committed to joining us at the last minute because they wanted to be able to share with the community and give back to the community. And that just speaks volumes to not just the people that joined us, but to the entire community that we have.
Yeah.
So, and we do this for all of you. We want to do everything that we can to help all of you reach your goal. And it might seem frivolous that we do a Tuesday night show, but it's a fun show. Yeah. And it's just one more avenue to get into people's faces to say, you don't have to do it this way. You can do it this way. This is the appropriate way. You don't have to do all this nonsense, all this noise.
Right.
And so that's everything that we do, is to try and help people find the right path. And again, it's not, you don't have to do it with us. We say this all the time. You don't have to do it with us, but we'll tell you how to do it.
Right. More efficiently and less headache, and arrive to the place that you want to be. Like you said, why go around the world when you can just literally go across the street to the shortest path to where you want to be is a straight line. So solution, certification after certification to do X, Y, and Z, all to have it literally pushed aside, because at the end of the day, the hiring manager, they want to know about your competency. They don't want to know about how you pass the test, which is literally what a certification is saying. It doesn't say that you know these things. It just says that you passed the test. And what I love about it, Chris, is, like you said, the return rate, people wanting to share their testimonials, and we don't pay them for it. They are happy to be here because of the experience, because of the end-to-end experiences that they have at Go Cloud Careers, from the time that we have a conversation about if this is the right program to you sharing in an email or a text that Mike shares with us, or we know about them being cloud hired or having a phenomenal experience, about a hiring manager asking them, where'd you get your competency and your ability to share these soft skills. So for me, for Chris, I'm sure for everyone, it's what gets us up in the morning to be able to help transform lives, help change the trajectory of someone's career or financial status, and how that can transform into a generational increase for everyone, because they're able to hand that down. They're able to share that accessibility, and it's such a large juggernaut of an experience and in a system for us to take part of.
Yeah. This has been an exciting opportunity. So I'm going to bring it back out to everybody. If you want a Chris and Elonzo show, then give us a hashtag Chris and Elonzo in the chat box.
Chris, I'm willing if you're willing.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, if I can get a 50% commitment out of people in 12 hours, imagine what I can do if we've got more time, and we could just have a Chris and Elonzo show where we bring in people to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
The freestyle edition, you'll have the tech, and then you'll have.
Oh, no, there's not any tech. No tech.
No tech.
No.
Chris doesn't do tech. I'll tech, but we'll save that for Head in the Clouds. But for right here, this will be our platform for everyone to ask questions. We can get in depth about a topic, whether it's something that just happened or just day-to-day qualitative things. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity to get that going.
I mean, we could do an entire show about communication.
Oh yeah,
every week we could do a show about communication.
and even Mike, he said he was bored with the movie, so he came back, and he says he wants a Chris and Elonzo show. So the man,
he literally did. He just
I just got that.
Yeah,
Mike, as long as you're not using your voice, but try to relax, buddy. Try to just sit down, take a breather for yourself. So, we have to basically almost have to tackle Mike physically to just hold him down and relax, but Mike is who he is. He doesn't
relax and Mike.
No, it's oil and water. He just doesn't, but that just talks about his commitment to you, commitment to sharing his knowledge, commitment to getting you cloud hired, sharing everything that he's been.
Whoa.
What did he say? He said something. What did he say? What did he? Oh God. We're getting barrage with Mike texting us, and oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
Have a few more, Mike, because we want to make sure you're relaxed. And
he's relaxed now.
Oh yeah. Shaken not stirred, right?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. What did this say? What did this say?
Oh my goodness.
See, I just got a message, and this is a perfect example of what we talk about. Got a message from a student that's been in the program for a week, asking how do I appropriately respond to a recruiter that's already reaching out to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. We'll table that for another time.
Yeah. We'll help them. That's something that we definitely take care of with our students.
Yeah.
But just goes to show you it works what we're doing. So, well, anyway, Looks like people want some Chris and Elonzo show.
Ah,
Ooh,
let's see
looks
what
like they want some Chris and Zoe. Oh, hold on. We got the Crenzo.
Crins. You know, that's an old nickname that I've had since I was young. So that brings back great memories. Oh man, the Chris Zoe show.
There we go, the Chris Zoe show.
Oh man, no tech Tuesday.
Actually, I might take that one. We might take that one, but not on Tuesdays.
We have to put that. Yeah, we have to put that, or no tech Thursdays or something. We'll have to put that on the list of names.
Yep, that's going on the list of names. Well, all right. So I'm just going to throw it out here. If you got any suggested names for a Chris and Elonzo show, put it in the chat box.
Put it in the chat.
So Elonzo, I want to ask you, and I don't know what time constraints you might have, but if I can, I'd like to ask you a question or two.
Sure. Shoot.
Right. Surprise! You didn't know.
Right. you know, I knew it was coming. It was around the corner.
And our next guest, Elonzo Colvin.
I have been ambushed.
All right. So, Elonzo.
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite part of the program from an administrator side?
Just one, huh? I think engaging with the students, engaging with the potential students. Say, for instance, we get someone of interest who's interested in the program, and as a content and experience officer, it's up to me to start that first steps of experience and share the content along with what else we're doing. But the initial steps of calling, having those conversations, and there may be some people that I've even personally talked to before they even started the program, is sharing, finding out who they are, establishing and getting to know them as a person, sharing and hearing from their stories about whether this is for them or whether they've had experience or no experience at all, and how I'm able to share my personal story with them, share the successes of the students, how it's transformed their lives, and being able to answer any questions and fill in those gaps of doubt of saying that, is this for me? Do I have what it takes to finish the program? I'm not this or I'm not that, and being able to reinforce them with positivity, reinforce them with encouragement, and reinforce them with anything that they need to share that this is for them, and that their prior experiences will be able to be the foundation that they can lay the competency on top of to make them successful. So it's really cool to watch how they started here and how they've progressed to uncertainty, confusion. Now it's more encouragement. Now they're getting more confident in their positioning in the community with the tech, and ultimately sharing the cloud hired, like I just got hired, and seeing that is so rewarding for me, is to watch that progression for all students to move forward, knowing that they can come to me to ask questions and saying, well, I'm not sure about this, Elonzo, and being able to talk about how we can lift their spirits up, and even further drive home the fact that this is not just a swipe your card, get your certificate, move along. This is a community of people. This is a community of folks that even a couple of weeks ago, I had an opportunity to get personal with the students with our first Houston meet and greet outing, where we went to Top Golf, and it was more about us coming together as tech interested people who are interested in cloud architecture. It was about us coming together as people who don't know each other, but we have a tie that binds, that we're able to share with each other, so that it fortifies more of what we are and what we do. So, to your point, that's just meeting the new people and watching them progress.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. I think that's a great way to end the show there.
So yeah, I just, you know, Chris and I, we always interact day to day over the for hours about what we need to do, how we need to strategize, and what we need to do for the week. So, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed this, man. This is something that we have to keep doing, and I think that we have plenty of content between ourselves to keep the ball rolling and make this a real legitimate show. So I had a great time, man, and you know, we'll always be talking first thing in the morning. So, you know, let's do it.
All right, definitely. So there's a few, there's always a couple of things I want to make sure that I talk about, and that's going to be make sure that you get the new and updated AWS exam guide. You'll get the link in the description here in just a few seconds. It's new and updated for the Solution Architect Associate CO3 and the Solution Architect Professional latest exams. So that link will be in the chat box momentarily, and it's also in the description. And then, of course, we also have our How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar next Thursday. Make sure to sign up for that. The link for that will also be in the description and should be in the chat box in a few minutes as well. Then, of course, as always, make sure you're following us on LinkedIn. Make sure you follow Mike and you follow Go Cloud Careers for everything that we have coming up, and because you don't want to miss anything.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. It's been a blast. Thank you, Elonzo, and thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thanks so much, everyone. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next Head in the Clouds podcast next Tuesday.
All right. Have a good night.
Take care, everyone.